Right now, you have a time machine in your kitchen. It is capable of slowing down the progress of the universe itself. You keep leftover food in there, forget about it for days, and it stays good. You didn't have to think or make an effort. Technology simply works. But now, delete the entire refrigerator from the history of our evolution. Go back in time to an era of suffocating heat and no electricity. Imagine the meat you just hunted exposed to the weather at 95 degrees Fahrenheit. Without refrigeration, food began a deadly countdown. Leaving food out for just a few hours created a feast for bacteria, dangerous bacteria capable of wiping out your entire family before sunrise. For thousands of years, hunger and food poisoning went hand in hand. How did our ancestors survive without the most important appliance of all? They used physics, chemistry, and methods that today would seem like torture. Humanity's greatest ally was something you ignore in your salad today: common salt. In the past, this mineral was worth as much as pure gold. Bacteria desperately need moisture in order to thrive. When you cover meat with salt, a severe dehydration process occurs. Salt pulls water out of the food and destroys germs through osmosis. The meat became rigid as stone and had an incredibly strong flavor. But this technique guaranteed that food would last for months without a... Sailors on long voyages spent months eating only this type of meat. Before cooking, they had to wash the food repeatedly to remove the salt. If you didn't have access to salt, the only way out was to use smoke. Smoking in enclosed huts solved the problem in two brilliant ways. First, the heat from the fire quickly dried the outer layer of the meat. Second, the properties of wood smoke acted as a bactericidal shield. This hard crust completely prevented insects from laying eggs inside. Thus, proteins were safely stored for wintertime. But what about vegetables and fruits? You can't throw salt on a peach. Smoking vegetables didn't work either. They just spoiled. Humanity's solution to this puzzle was acidity. They submerged vegetables in jars filled with vinegar or acidic solution. By sealing the jar airtight, they created a hostile environment for germs. No dangerous bacteria could survive or breathe in that acid. That's how the first year-round preserves were born. And the biggest challenge of all time was fresh milk. Left in the heat for just 24 hours, milk turned into pure poison. Drinking sour milk the wrong way caused terrible intestinal infection. The way out was to use controlled spoilage in favor of survival. They used good microorganisms to fight and colonize the bad ones. By turning unstable milk into hard cheese, eliminated moisture. Milk would spoil in a day. Cheese lasted for months crossing continents. But what if you didn't want to alter the original flavor of the vinegar and salt completely changed the taste of fruits and eggs? The answer to this problem was hidden right under their feet. Our ancestors discovered the science of geothermal energy a long time. If you dig deep enough, the soil temperature stays low. It remains insulated from the sun and stays cold even during the scorching summer. These underground stone cellars were the world's first refrigerators. There, sensitive foods gained extra weeks of shelf life. In very cold regions of the planet, they took this engineering to the extreme. During the height of winter, men cut massive blocks of ice from rivers. They transported these blocks to deep pits dug in the villages. Then, they covered the ice with straw and sawdust to act as thermal insulation. Surprisingly, this stored ice lasted until the middle of the following summer. It was a heavy, dangerous, and incredibly exhausting community effort. It's very easy to look at the past and think all of that was primitive, or to feel disgusted by the methods they were forced to use. But the great reality is that humanity lived in constant alert. Their entire routine revolved around securing food supplies, rigorous preparation so as not to starve during the next big drought. We won the war against food spoilage completely. We turned the miracle of refrigeration into something ordinary and invisible. Today, your only problem is not finding the exact sweet you wanted to eat. Forgetting that, for our ancestors, keeping food preserved was the only possible choice to stay alive.